I have a worm farm. There are more than 2 million worms on my farm. I started the farm because I wanted to get rid of garden rubbish. I also care about the environment. Worms can help us to get rid of our rubbish and to make compost. They eat food scraps, paper, and garden cuttings. The worms' droppings are called castings. The castings make food for plants. I put the castings on the garden to help the plants grow better. The worms at my worm farm are called compost worms. They eat anything organic such as dead animals, leaves, and animal droppings. In the wild, these worms are found on the forest floor. Compost worms are not the same as the worms you see when you dig in the garden. The worms in your garden are called earthworkers. These worms are gray and are much larger than compost worms. Worms like to be kept warm and moist. They are kept in long raised beds, with layers of coarse cloth and sacks on top, to keep the temperature the same all the time. There is a sheet of plastic underneath each bed. This helps to stop tree roots from growing into the worm beds and sucking up moisture and the nutrients the worms make. Worms do not like light. At night, they like to travel, so I put garden lights around the beds to stop them getting out. Worms do not like rain. They can drown in heavy rain because they breathe through their skin. When it rains, worms will try to escape to higher ground. Worms do not like to get too hot. In summer, the worms must be kept moist. If the beds become too dry, the worms can die. The worms feed on fruit and vegetables, which I get from the local greengrocer. I put the fruit and vegetables into a machine that pulps them, so they are easy for the worms to eat. If there is too much fruit and vegetable matter, the soil becomes acidic or sour. This isn't good for the worms. I sprinkle lime over the food to help balance their diet. Worms can double their population every 2 months, so I never have to worry about running out of worms. There can be as many as 10,000 worms per square meter. 12,000 worms per square yard. Worms also travel from other places into the beds, because there is plenty to eat. In winter, the breeding slows down. Worms lay eggs that are about the size of a match head. Up to 10 young worms hatch from each egg. People come and buy worms for their compost bins and worm farms. People can also buy worms such as the African night crawler to use as bait when fishing. I weigh the worms and put them in a small cotton bag so they can breathe. I also put some wet coconut fiber in the bag to keep the worms moist. I can post worms to people who can't come to the farm to buy worms. I put some shredded newspaper in a box, and then I put in the worms. I put lots of holes in the box to let air in, so the worms can breathe. People can also buy small worm farms. These are small compost bins with trays for the worms to live in. The end.